What happens to you if you get hurt? What happens to you? Many dentists get disabled. I grew up skiing. By the time I hit college, I could do any trail I wanted to on the mountain. Then I went to dental school and I became a dentist, and I started thinking things through. Should I really be going down this trail this fast? What happens if I fall? What happens if I break my arm or twist my hands? Whatever, something happens and I can't use these. What do I do? This was my livelihood, and that's a thought that goes through every dentist mindset. It's not just your hands, it's your back, your shoulders, your neck. There are so many disabilities. What do you do? What does your family do in these instances? It's a hard thing to think about. Dentistry is a business that is so dependent on you and your skills being present that it makes it a very hard business to scale. So look at the successes in the field of dentistry, the successful people. It's typically the DSOs who have a system in place. That less than 50% of dentists own their own practice today. That's less than a half. Staggering numbers. I became a dentist. I graduated from NYU in 1998, so 21 years ago. And I think it was 80% of dentists were an owner or partner in their own practice. Those numbers are staggering. Change is here in this industry. It's not coming, it's here. So can you make it as a solo dentist? You can. It's hard, but you can make it. But what happens if something happens to you physically? What do you do? And what does your family do? And what are you prepared to do differently to protect that? I remember when I was paying for disability insurance and I was looking at my actual costs, and I said, man, if I'm disabled, this amount that I'm getting from disability is not going to come anywhere near enough to pay my bills. And I stopped paying for disability insurance. It just wasn't making sense to me at the time. What I ended up doing, of course, was creating a business that wasn't entirely centered on me. It wasn't just about me. The business was completely scalable. It required some brain power, and not just mine, but a creative team. An entire mindset of really smart individuals put together to accomplish certain goals. And the more you can empower that team, the greater this business can become. So what makes more sense? You obviously had to be smart to get through dental school. That was not easy. Classes were hard, tests were hard, the boards were hard, all of it was hard. There was a lot of studying that went on. It was not an easy thing. Certainly a huge step up from the level of difficulty that I had experienced thus far. I went to Rutgers for college, certainly not easy either. That was way harder than high school, and each step was significantly harder. But none of it really prepares you for actual life and business other than going out there and seeing, hey, how does this work? How does that work? Figuring out the business side of dentistry was not that easy, because if you're like a champ and you're amazing, you get your overhead close to 50%. So every business has overhead. Just a matter of, hey, what are the costs and how do those costs compare to the actual money you're making? What if you could find something where your overhead was just low, using skills, similar skills that you use today? There has to be something or some reason that you're going into this. Is not looking for just a complete change of career, but maybe just a little twist down a different path. And that's what we do with dental sleep medicine. You get to use up all the skills that made you who you are today. You just get a better result when it comes to the business. And God forbid something happens to you, your business will continue to live on. This is actually a business unlike dentistry. This can be passed down from generation to generation. You want to build a family business that your kids can go into, they don't have to go to dental school. That's the one thing about having a dental practice, and you dream of your kids coming to practice with you. I remember I had looked at the age that I was going to retire at as a dentist, and I came up with the age of 59. And the reason that I came with that age is because at that point, my youngest would have been old enough to make a decision as to whether he wanted to go into dentistry or not. And if none of my kids wanted to, I was going to sell my practice. Turns out I sold it much earlier. I had realized early on it was not necessarily the career path I wanted to go down to, but rather than just accepting it, was willing to go out and make a bold change. Make a change that made sense for me, my sanity, my even just physical well-being, mental well-being, of course, physical well-being. They said dentists, you finish your day, you couldn't take your work home with you. Every stressful patient was on my shoulders at the end of that day. I felt it. The stress there was, as you know, difficult. But faced with an actual decision of what would happen to you and your family if something happened to you, what's your answer? You have to come up with something. Because an I don't know or a lack of planning just leads to absolute disaster. Start planning your future, guys. Have a great day.